As photographers, nothing feels more satisfying than seeing your photos printed and displayed in tangible form. It's not just the final product, but the process of creation from beginning to end that makes it rewarding. I printed a few zines in the past and achieved very satisfactory results in both black and white and also color. So today I thought I would take you on the entire process from start to finish in the making of my latest zine, Sanming. Before undertaking a zine, having a clear or even rough idea of what you wish to express on paper is essential. When it comes to zines, unlike say a photo book or monograph, it can be a little bit more loose in concept and structure. Your photos don't need to be able to speak volumes individually, but as a collective they should be able to form a cohesive idea. In my case, I knew that I had an upcoming trip to my hometown China, I knew that I would be shooting with one camera and one lens, and the images I'd be making would focus strongly on color. So super simple, it's basically a collection of vibrant images that form a cohesive story about one particular area, taken using one particular camera and lens. Once the concept of your zine is conceived, it also makes it easier when it comes to taking photos to focus or actively seek out scenes that you think may fit well in your zine. Now this is the fun part. Zines should not be a long-term serious endeavor. They should be simple and concise. And like I said before, tell a narrative as a group of images. If you have a huge catalog of photos you've taken in the past, there will be definitely images that are similar to each other. So you could potentially skip this step and move on to the next one. I had about 6 days in my hometown, and most of the time I was documenting my relatives and family members, but the zine concept was always in the back of my mind, and whenever a scene presented itself, I made sure to capture it the best I could. Rule of thumb here is to always start broad and narrow it down. Finding the strongest images and keeping a zine short and sweet is really important, especially if you are presenting or selling this to other people. You don't want the majority of time to be spent on flicking through pages of images. You want the time to be spent on analyzing and thinking about the content within each frame, between each spread, or as a whole body of work. When I came back, I had over 3,000 photos. 600 of them were candidates for my zine. Bringing it down to 100 photos over 3 days wasn't that difficult. However, when it came down to the last 30, it took me almost 2 weeks to bring it down to 25. It all came down to how I could piece together the images so that they could complement each other from page to page. Regardless, taking a bit longer and really detaching yourself from your biases, or even having a fresh pair of eyes, could be really beneficial. The images have been chosen, now it's time to lay out our pages. If you're printing and binding the zine yourself at home, you can skip this step, but it's a good idea to find your printing company right now. I chose Mixam because I printed my previous zines with them, and the service, turnaround, and print quality for the price has been stellar. No matter which company you settle for, they should have a way to upload or create your zine on their website or provide you with templates for you to work from. This is the part that is super complex, especially if you're not tech savvy and have difficulty learning new software. While in this video I will not be covering all the technical stuff, I will note down some important tips. For zines between 20 to 30 pages, I would recommend staple bound with a paper thickness of no more than 150 GSM, 170 would be the absolute limit. For paper type, if this is your first zine, I would choose satin as the finish. If you're printing in black and white, I would consider printing in grayscale instead of CMYK. If you are editing your photos, having a good color accurate monitor would be the best solution. But if you don't have one, the next best thing would be to figure out how to adjust your monitor's contrast and brightness to the optimum levels for photo editing, or use a color calibration tool. Make sure to use the recommended proof profile from the printing company. If they do not specify, reach out to them and ask for it. This is really important, especially if you are printing in color, as CMYK is not the same as RGB. Spend as much time as you need to learn the software you'll use to compile the zine. The two common ones that I used are Adobe InDesign and Affinity Publisher. Learn what the bleed and margins are, how to create and organize pages, place images, and export the correct settings for optimal print quality. Now, even knowing all these things, it took me about 4 days to sequence my zine. Deciding on which images pair well together on page spreads and how they flow from start to finish will be the thing that keeps you up at night. So the hard part is all done. You've triple checked your work. All you have to do now is upload it to the printing company's website. Pay and wait patiently for the zines to arrive. I'm I'm super happy with how this one turned out. This time around, I decided to print on uncoated paper as I envisioned the raw texture of the uncoated paper will add extra depth and tactility to my images. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment if you found this video helpful. You can watch my review on the Sigma BF here to see more photos I took in China, or you can check out some of my other handy dandy tutorials right here. See ya!